The wrong wire can burn up your EV charger. Your electric vehicle charger can work perfectly while the wire in the wall is slowly overheating. And by the time you smell something burning or notice a melted outlet, the damage may already be done. And just because an electrician installed your EV charger does not mean it was installed correctly. And that's why you're going to want to watch this video. In this video, I'm going to show you what to look for: the right wire, the right outlet, and the right charger setting, so you can recognize an unsafe installation before it causes a fire. Now let's go ahead and get into this. Now I'm going to explain why EV charging is different. An EV charger can use a large amount of electricity continuously for several hours. And that makes it a lot different from other equipment in your home. A stove or a dryer or air conditioner may use a lot of power, but it normally turns on and off. And on the other hand, your EV charger may pull close to its maximum power all night long or for several hours. Think about lifting something heavy. You may be able to lift it for a few seconds, but holding it for 5, 6, 7, 8 hours is a completely different situation. The same thing applies to your wiring. A weak outlet or loose connection may appear to work normally at first, but after carrying a heavy load for several hours, it can begin to overheat, and the charger may not show any error because it's still receiving power. Meanwhile, the connection inside the outlet, the electrical panel, or the charger could be getting hotter and hotter every time you charge. Before I continue, I want to thank everyone that helped this channel reach 10,000 subscribers. I truly appreciate everyone that watched the video, left a comment, liked, typed the videos up, and also subscribe to the channel. Your support helped build this community where we can learn about electric vehicles and charging together. So if you're watching this for the first time, you find this information to be helpful, please consider subscribing to the channel. This helps the YouTube algorithm push this information out to people that really need to hear this. And I'm telling you, a lot of people need to hear this because it can potentially prevent them from having a fire in their home. Now let's go ahead and get back into this. Now we're going to talk about what motivated me to make this video in the first place. And this stems from what happened when my sister wanted to install an EV charger. My sister bought a Kia EV9 and she was using a level 1 charger, just wasn't enough. And so she received several quotes from electricians to install a level 2 charger in her home so she can charge her vehicle faster. And one company wanted to replace her entire electrical system. They're going to charge her $7,000. And that didn't even include the drywall work that was required. So probably around $7,500 all in. My sister selected the electrician who's going to hook up a smart splitter to her dryer outlet. And she called me right before the installation process while the electrician was there. And I had a conversation with him, and some of the things he said concerned me. For example, he told me he was going to get 48 amps out of this outlet. Now my question was like, okay, how are you going to get 48 amps out of an outlet, a 30 amp circuit, without replacing the entire circuit? Whatever he explained was not to my satisfaction. And so I got my sister back on the phone. I was like, look, you just tell this guy to go home. I'll install this myself because what he's talking about, I don't see how he's going to do this safely without creating a fire risk in your house. I'm not going to let your house burn down. So her dryer has a 30 amp breaker, which is one of these right here, and 10 gauge wires. And this is 10 gauge wire right here. And that circuit can support 24 amps of continuous EV charging, not 48. And that's what concerned me. You cannot turn a 30 amp circuit into a 60 amp circuit, but that's changing out the outlet and installing a larger breaker, which that's probably the only way he's going to be able to do that. The wire inside the wall still has a limit. So I eventually installed a NeoCharge smart splitter to our Autel charger, and I set the charge limit to 24 amps. So it wouldn't pour more power than the dryer circuit could safely provide continuously. And now she's able to charge her Kia EV9 without replacing her entire electrical circuit. And I did a video on that, and I'll leave that at the end of the video if you want to check that out. And when it comes to hooking up an EV charger, the first thing you need to know is that the charger setting must match the circuit. For EV charging, the safe charging limit is normally lower than the number printed on the breaker. For example, I have two breakers here, and this one's a 30 amp, and I have a 50 amp right here. A 30 amp circuit can provide up to 24 amps continuously. A 50 amp circuit can provide up to 40 amps continuously. And a 60 amp circuit can provide up to 48 amps continuously. And those are the three examples that most people need to remember. If you're sharing a typical 30 amp dryer circuit like I do in my house and I installed in my sister's house, the charger should be limited to 24 amps. And if you're using a 50 amp NEMA 1450 outlet like the one right here, the charger should be limited to 40 amps. If you want the full 48 amps, you normally need a 60 amp circuit with the hard wire to the charger. Your charger may be capable of delivering 48 amps, but that doesn't mean that the circuit is connected to can safely provide 48 amps. And you cannot fix this by simply adding a larger breaker. A larger breaker does not automatically give you more charging power. The breaker is there to protect the wire. If someone installs a breaker that's too large for the wire can overheat before the breaker can shut the power off. So let's return to my sister's dryer circuit. It had 10 gauge wire, which is this right here, and it was protected by a 30 amp breaker, one of these. If someone replaced a 30 amp breaker with a 60 amp breaker and allowed the charger to pull 48 amps, the breaker may not trip. As far as the breaker is concerned, 48 amps is below the 60 amp rating. The problem is that 10 gauge wire was never designed to carry 48 amps. The breaker and the wire and the charger setting must all match. Changing the breaker only does not increase the safe capacity of the existing wiring. Next, we're going to talk about why wire type matters, and this is very important. I have two types of 6 gauge copper wire here. One is called NMB cable, company called Romex. It bundles several wires together inside one outer jacket. And you can see this is the outer jacket here, and this is called 6-3. So it has 3 conductors and 1 grounding wire. And they're all bundled together inside this insulation. And these individual wires here are called THH10/THWN2. And they're normally installed inside a conduit. And this is right here. So it's usually installed into something like this. You don't need to remember what each letter stands for. The important thing is that these two wiring systems handle heat differently. Romex bundles everything inside of one cable. And that cable may run through walls, insulation, hot attic where heat has difficulty escaping. Individual wires installed in conduit commonly carry more power under the proper condition. Here's a simple difference. This 6 gauge Romex can commonly be used on a charger set to 40 amps on a 50 amp circuit. And this 6 gauge copper wire here, which is THH10/THWN2, is commonly used for chargers set to 48 amps on a 60 amp circuit. Romex is not a bad wire and it is not automatically unsafe. It simply has a lower limit when it is used this way. The mistake is assuming that any wire marked 6 gauge can safely provide the full 48 amps, and that is not correct. Now, will 6 gauge Romex melt immediately? Probably not. 6 gauge Romex is not likely to melt the moment 48 amps passes through it. The concern is what can happen after the wire carries a heavy load for several hours, night after night after night over time. Heat may build up inside a wall or attic. The covering around the wire can slowly become damaged, while reconnection at the breaker or the charger may become even hotter. And the first failure may not happen in the middle of the wire. It may happen where the wire connects to the breaker, the outlet, or the charger. And this is why installation can work for months or maybe even years before something melts. The fact that the charger works today does not prove that every part of the installation is safe for years of continuous use. Now we're going to talk about what my Rivian charger requires. For full power, Rivian calls for a 60 amp circuit and 6 gauge copper wire. The charger has to be hardwired. Tesla has similar requirements for its 48 amp charger and specifically calls for a THWN2 installed in conduit. Other chargers from Alltel, ChargePoint, and Wallbox may have their own requirements, and you don't need to memorize the requirements for every charger. Just ask the electrician whether they read the installation manual for your exact model. The manual tells them how large the circuit should be, what wire the charger accepts, and how the charger needs to be set. Now look at these two NEMA 1450 outlets. From the front, they look similar, but they are not built the same. And I'll just show you from the side. So look at the front. They look similar, but you turn them to the side and you see they're quite different. You see the one in my right hand is quite larger, and just turn it to the back and you see the connection points here. And so these are not equal. This inexpensive outlet was like $10, and it's fine for an electric range for a stove. However, the range normally turns its heating elements on and off, so it's not continuous power going through this. An EV charger can pull 40 amps through the outlet continuously for several hours. And that's why I recommend using the heavy duty industrial or EV rated outlet for plug-in charging, like this one right here. And you see it has an EV symbol right here. It normally has stronger contacts, better construction, and larger connection points for wires. This NEMA 1450 outlet is rated for 50 amps, but your charger should be limited to 40 amps when using it. It's called the 80% rule. And you should never operate an EV charger at 48 amps through one of these NEMA 1450s. Don't do it. 48 amp charging requires a 60 amp circuit, and it has to be hardwired. So even if someone installed a larger wire behind the wall, and this is 4 gauge right here that can carry a lot more power, it's still limited by 50 amps in the 80% rule, which means for continuous EV charging, this is limited to 40 amps. Next, we're going to talk about something very important in the prevention of fires, and that is tight connections. The correct wire and outlet can still overheat if the connections are loose. Think of a loose connection like a bottleneck. Electricity has less room to pass through, and that creates more heat. When 40 or 48 amps passes through a circuit for several hours, it can become hot enough to damage the outlet, wire, or the charging terminal. And the installer shouldn't just tighten these screws by guessing. Every breaker, charger, and outlet has instructions explaining exactly how tight each connection has to be. And on this one says tighten terminal to 75 inch-pounds. And a special tool called a torque screwdriver or torque wrench is used to tighten the connection to the correct amount. And this one here is a digital one here, and I'll leave this link in the description. But you put in the number of inch-pounds in here, and you turn it, and when it hits that limit, it'll vibrate and beep. And you'll show right here that you hit the correct amount of inch-pounds. And there we go. Pretty cool. And go tighten this one down to ground. And also on the breaker, on the instructions on the front end breakers, it'll show you exactly how many inch-pounds that it should be torqued to, depending on the wiring size. It's a little small, so you might need a magnifying glass to see that. And just to show a comparison, this one here, the instructions right here, first of all, on here it says not recommended for EV charging. You probably can't see that. And on the instruction here, it says that this should be tightened down to 40 inch-pounds. So that's just a comparison between these two. So if the screws are too loose, it can cause heat, while over tightening the screws can damage the terminal or the wire. And so the bottom line is that even the correct wire will not protect you from a loose connection. So these connections are very important. Now we're going to talk about 4 questions you should ask your electrician. You don't need to know the entire electrical code just to ask these 4 questions. First question is, what amperage will my charger be set to? Second, what size breaker will be installed? Third, what type and size of wire will you use? Fourth, will every connection be tightened with a torque tool? If the charger will plug into a NEMA 1450 outlet, confirm that it's a heavy duty or EV rated outlet like the one right here, and that the charger will be limited to 40 amps. A qualified electrician that understands EV charging should be able to answer those questions clearly. So if you plan on doing this yourself, this video is meant to help you understand what a safe installation should include. It does not replace electrical training, permits, inspections, or instructions that came with your charger. A 240 volt circuit could cause serious injury, electrical equipment damage, or fire if it's installed incorrectly. Before attempting to work yourself, determine whether homeowners are allowed to perform this type of installation in your area. Follow the manual for your charger, obtain the required permits, and have the completed installation inspected. Knowing which type of wire and outlet to buy is only part of the job. Your electrical panel, grounding, and the total amount of power available to your home also needs to be evaluated. Now here's my final take. This is the simplest way to remember everything that we discussed in this video. The breaker, wire, outlet, and charger setting all have to match. A typical 30 amp dryer circuit supports 24 amp charging. A NEMA 1450 outlet supports no more than 40 amps of continuous charging. 6-gauge Romex can commonly support 40 amp charging on a 50 amp circuit. 6-gauge copper THHN/THWN2 is commonly used for 48 amps on a 60 amp circuit. And even when the correct equipment is used, every connection must be tightened properly in accordance with the instructions. Let me know in the comment section what type of charger setup you have. Is your charger hardwired? Is it plugged into a NEMA 1450 or connected through a dryer circuit? If you experience a hot plug, a melted outlet, or failed connection, let us know what caused it. Your experience may help someone else avoid the same problem. And also, if you haven't already, please like and subscribe. But that's all I have for today. I'd like to thank you for joining me once again, and I can't wait to see you on the next video.